All right, we're going to learn today how to leverage AI tools to create carousels almost instantly. So, obviously, there's a little bit of setup that goes into it, but once you set it up once, then at that point, you're just recreating content over and over and much quicker. So, today we're going to use Claude and we're going to use Canva and we're going to have them connect. We're going to connect them and then I'm going to teach you the process essentially how you can almost create content on demand instead of having to try and hire someone or having to always do many rounds of edits. And so this is really great for somebody that is trying to manage their socials. And to be honest, I have set out a goal for myself to automate as much of my business as possible so that I have more time to focus on my clients and the things that I love doing, which is creating. So let's go ahead and hop in. Now, I will preface that I do have a paid Claude account and I do have a paid Canva account. I have not tested this for free users, so you can try and see if it works. But I also want to say something like, as much as free tools are awesome, obviously some tools give you more access to more depth of the tool. And so one thing I like about Canva Pro is you can set up your entire branding, colors, and fonts and everything. That's a bonus. And then with Claude, the other thing I want to mention is they do have the $20 a month plan, but you're going to run out of credits pretty quickly. That's what happened to me. So I did upgrade to the $100 a month plan. And although I'm not going to lie, like it was a tough pill to swallow to pay $100, but the reality is I know that a designer would charge a lot more. Even if you're thinking of a designer that charges $20 an hour and it takes about 3 hours to create 10 slides, I know on average each slide at minimum can be like 15 to 30 minutes, depending when we're designing from scratch. So let's just say on the low end, 15 times 10 is 150 minutes, which is essentially about 2.5 hours roughly when I did the math. So let's call it 3 hours times 20 is $60. So just to have one carousel designed, essentially at a $20 rate, it's so much cheaper just to pay the $100 and make a lot of content and batch it when you want. So I do want to say that because I know sometimes people don't want to pay for tools, but I try to think of it as in what would this cost me to hire someone to do it? And is it more cost effective to go ahead and pay the AI and automate some of my work? All right, so what we're going to do is once you create an account with Claude, you're going to go ahead and you're going to go to the projects here on the left. So I'm hovering on it. You want to open a new project, and I'm just going to call this my brand name. I'm going to move my mic because I need space to type. So I'm going to put TKA social Canva design. I'm going to call it demo because I already made one. And essentially, I'm going to give you some instructions that you can use to copy and paste. Now, you will have to update your colors. And what you can do is you can give the Claude the instructions and just give it your information. So we're just going to kind of set it up step by step. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you the instructions that I created. This is the one specifically for mine, but I'm going to give you the more general one. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create project, and I'm going to go ahead and pop in the instructions and say, I want to convert these instructions to, oops, I can't type, instructions to use my font and colors. Please let me know what other content to provide to set up properly. So I gave it the instructions and I'm asking it to tell me, like I'm pretending I'm you, like what do I need to give you? So if you have a brand guide, if you worked with a designer, typically they'll give you a brand guide. If you do not have a brand guide, we're going to need to pull your colors off of your logo. So there is this option called a color generator, I believe, and they have different free ones you can use online. Apparently Canva already has one, so let's just make it easy. Let's see what Canva has. I'm going to go ahead and upload my logo. So I'm going to go ahead and upload my TKA logo 2026. I have a lot of files on my computer, so bear with me. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. So I'm going to go ahead and update my logo. It only pulled a few colors. There's other generators that pull more. I'm going to probably test another one. Okay, so I did find a different one called colormind.io, and I'll go ahead and drop it below. I did go to the image upload option over here on the right, and I went ahead and inserted my logo, and this is probably pretty close to what my brand colors are. So I had paused the video, and apparently I wasn't recording anymore. So going back, you're going to copy each one of these, what I was saying, one by one. And I'm going to show you, I'm just going to copy this again and show you what it looked like. I'm going to paste this in here, and I just kind of formatted it. It's important that you put the hashtags in front of each one of those numbers. I'm just trying to redo the format as if I hadn't hit send, so that way you can see what I did. Okay. So right after this, where it tries to be helpful and ask you information, I just kind of skipped it because it was not doing what I wanted. So I just went back after I asked it my question about what do I need to convert this into my own kind of like brand kit. And so your fonts, your colors, your handle, if you want your handle, and then your brand kit name on Canva. So my brand kit name on Canva is TKA. These are my brand colors. And so what I did was I copied and pasted each one of these one by one with the little number sign in front. And then the headings for mine are pink italic, or sorry, pink average and peak average italic. And then my body font is quicksand medium. So I did feed it this information, and I did give it my IG handle. So that's the format that I gave it. I'm going to go ahead and delete it only because I already submitted it. So what I like, it shows the colors. You can obviously, I accidentally duplicated one of the colors twice, but for demo purposes, I'm not going to worry too much about it. And then now it's kind of like pulling all the instructions together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those instructions, copy and paste them into the instruction section of this demo of this project that we made. So I'm going to give that a moment while that's happening. And then what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to swap over to Canva, and I'm going to show you essentially one of the templates that I already designed. Okay, so now we're inside my Canva account, my pro account, and this is one of the designs I made. I did make a couple. Essentially, they have a similar design and formatting. You'll see once I run the AI, once I run Claude to make the content for me, you're going to see that I'm going to have to go in and make some tweaks and edits, but still, I think it took me about 10, no more than 15 minutes to make edits after it created all of it for me. And that's only because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I'm also a designer. So like my brain doesn't let me just kind of half do something. So I'm going to go ahead and open this real quick just so you can kind of see. You can see there's already content in here. And what you're going to do next is, if you do not already have something, I was going to go over this because maybe you're like, well, I don't already have anything in Canva, or I don't already have a design that I like. So you can go to templates. Let me go back home. So let me go to templates, and you can find like social media templates that you like. So you can go here to social media, and then you can pick Instagram, and you can pick post. And so it's going to pull up templates that, that's to do a brand new one. Hold on. It did not pull up the templates. Hold on one second. Here we go. Sorry, templates. And then social media. Okay. So you're going to go to templates, and then you're going to go to social media. And from there, you'll be able to see like Instagram post. You can hit see all. And then you can kind of like look at some different ones, kind of find one that you like. Like, let's say you like this one. This one could be really good to start with. You can pop in your pictures later. I'm going to use this and hit customize template. And what I'm going to do is, if you already have your brand colors inside of your brand kit on Pro, then it's going to save you some time because you're not going to have to like do everything manually. But if not, you're going to have to put in your colors one by one. So one by one means you would go here, and then you would like pop in your color. And the nice thing is if you have your brand kit right here, I have my TKA fonts right here, and then I have my TKA brand voice, which you can actually do that in Canva, which will be a video for another day. But you can actually do TKA brand voice, and then I have my TKA colors. There are faster ways to apply to all, but I kind of like the shuffle feature because you can kind of like play with the different colors. When you apply all, then it kind of makes everything the same color and everything the same. So if you kind of want some slides that are a few different colors, you can do the shuffle feature and kind of pick the one that you like, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the shuffle on each one of these. And then I'm going to show you how to go ahead and change your fonts to match your brand and go from there. So there is another note, like if you know you want 10 slides or if you want 12 slides, or you can do up to 20 slides in Canva. I do somewhere between like 8 and 12, depending on the information. You do have to have those in there. So let's just say I don't really feel like designing much more. I'm just going to duplicate this a couple of times. I'm just hitting the little duplicate a page. It's these two little pieces of paper with the plus sign. So I'm going to duplicate it up to 10 slides, and I'm going to go in and make edits later anyways. The other thing I want to change is the font. So like, let's say, like I said, my personal font is called Pink Average. If you have Pro, you can upload your fonts. Again, you could Google, probably watch another tutorial on Canva on how to upload fonts. I'm not going to go into that today. So right here, you see where it says change all. I can literally hit change all and it will change all my fonts to match my brand font. Same with the body font. I'm going to go ahead and update the body font to my brand color. My brand font. Again, I'm going to hit change all, so that way it applies to all the slides, so I don't have to do everything manually. I'm going to kind of keep these little placeholders. If you don't like anything, you can always delete them later. So essentially, you just need something to start with, and then it's going to kind of add the information for you. So from this point, I'm going to go ahead. This is another important note. You need to duplicate your design every single time in the future, because if you use the same design to create the carousel, it will save over your previous design. So if you don't want it to save over your previous design, then you need to always make a copy. Because this is I'm just going to call this TKA, a social demo. And like, let's say this is my design I used last time. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to duplicate this design so that it does not save over my current design. So I learned that, unfortunately, the hard way. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy. And then now I made a copy, so I'm going to say, I'll just leave it as copy TK. Okay. I'm going to pause here real quick. I'm going to go back to Claude, and now it made my little instructions, which is kind of cool. You can like see everything that it created. You can download this. It's a doc. You can save it in your Google Drive, but really what I want to do more than anything is I want to copy this entire thing. I'm going to go ahead and open that document in my drive. Okay, I opened that document. I'm going to hit Control All, and I'm going to copy. So I just did Control All or Command A. Sorry, it's Control A or Command A, which means essentially you're going to select everything and then you're going to hit copy. And then I'm going to go back to Claude, and I'm going to hit the little plus sign and insert these instructions in here. Go ahead and hit save. Okay. So now that's in there. You can also just include some reference images of previous templates. So I'm just going to use this last template I used just so that it has some like colors to work off of, some vibes. But in the end of the day, what it's really using is going to be your template. So edit these details. I'm going to keep this part. I'm going to go ahead and what are you building? And then I'm going to trash all the other stuff that was on here. Perfect. I'm going to hit save here. And then what I'm going to do, most important part on how to connect Canva and Claude together. So you're going to go to, you'll see, like, once we finish setting this all up, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hit this little plus sign here in the bottom left, and you're going to go to connectors. Obviously my Canva is already connected, but you're going to go to manage connectors, and then you're going to hit this plus sign up here by the connectors, and you're going to hit browse connectors, and you're going to click on Canva. Obviously mine's already connected, so I'm not going to do that, but you're going to go ahead and connect your Canva to Claude. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your project, and once it's all connected, and then you're going to, in the future, the very first time you do your first content carousel, when you do your first carousel, it's going to ask you if it can use Canva, and you're going to say always allow. And once you do that the very first time you create your first carousel, you don't have to do it anymore, which is what you're going to see is I wasn't prompted if it could use Canva because I already had given it permission. And so make sure when it asks you, can it connect to your Canva, you're going to say always allow. So make sure to do that on your very first time. So we're going to go back to, let me close these tabs a little bit. Okay, so we're on this is the original. I'm going to leave that open just to show you, and this is the copy. So I'm going to go back, hit share. I'm going to hit see all, and I'm going to go to that template link. It has to be the template link. Create a template link, hit copy. And then I'm going to go to Claude, and I'm going to tell it, create a 10 slide carousel post. Excuse my bad spelling. There, okay. If you followed me a while, you're probably tired of me of telling you how dyslexic I am, but I'm truly dyslexic, and some things are really hard for me to spell. So my mom jokingly would say, how is it you have a college degree? And I was like, Mom, I'm a designer. I'm an artist. I don't need words. So that would be kind of my cop out to why I was a terrible speller and a slow reader. But all to say, here we are. Create 10 slide carousel post, and then I'm going to say using this template. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can use blog posts and repurpose them, which is really nice because now not only are you creating content for your SEO for your website, which is on page SEO, you're now also repurposing that content into carousels. So I'm going to go with that option first and show you how to do that. Obviously, the other one's option 2 is going to take a little more time because I don't have any actual content for the example yet. So we're going to have to do that. So I'm going to go to my website where I have my blog, and I'm just going to pick one of my favorite posts, which is like the 8 common mistakes I found across the websites I reviewed. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link, and I'm going to go back to Claude, and I'm going to say, create a 10 slide carousel post from this blog. And then lastly, you can say, use or comment. So if you've heard of ManyChat, you can use ManyChat to set up those auto DMs that you see people do when they're like, comment XYZ word. Again, I'm not going to cover that in this particular video today, but ManyChat, if you want it to kind of do those auto DMs, you do comment, let's just say audit as my CTA. So essentially, let's just say I'm going to offer an audit for this. Okay, so a couple things. I didn't give it a ton of information, but I'm like, create a 10 slide carousel post from this blog. And then I have comment audit as my CTA to offer a free audit. And then use this template, which is our copy here. So I did that little link. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit send. Now in the future, obviously, like if you don't have any content, you could just say, give me some ideas, and we'll go over option 2 just to make it a little easier for you. But if you already have blog posts, like repurpose those. Like that would make your life so much easier if you already have some content. If you have any old content that you want to repurpose, like feed it to the GPT, feed the link to it, have it review it, like take screenshots of the old content and have it repurpose it. Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Like if you have zero content, I'll just give you a quick little tutorial of how to get some quick information to make content creation easier. So right now I'm just going to wait a bit, and then I'll share the screen again once it finishes doing its thing. So I guess I can just leave it on just so you can see how long it really takes. But probably like a few like it might take about 60 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes at most, to be honest. It's creating everything, and obviously it's analyzing the blog, it's reviewing the template, and then it's creating the content to put into the design. So I'm just waiting here with you so you guys can see, because I did post the other night, like I think yesterday night, that I was going to make this video. And one of my clients DM'd me and she's like, does it really take seconds? And I'm like, yeah, it does. And here we go. I think it took less than a minute. So right now it's getting my little Canva link ready so I can open it up. And you do have to save it. So it is going to say it's not saved yet, typically. It's telling me what it did for me. So it's like, I gave you the hook, I did this and that. And then it's kind of going over like what it did. So I literally designed it probably, I think after this process, maybe 1 to 2 minutes, guys. Like where can you go and get 10 slides designed in minutes? Okay, so it says something like, do you want to save it? So I would say yes, save. And then it's going to give me my link, and then I can go ahead and open it up. So right here, it went ahead. Here's the Canva link. I'm going to go ahead and open the link. I'm going to close that old one. And we're going to go ahead and see what it did. So your website is losing patience before they ever call you. I'm going to go ahead and move this up. And so you can go through here. Obviously, it needs some editing. There's some overlap. So again, you can go in and just make a few quick tweaks. And I'm not going to go too far into like the editing aspect. I will say, this is actually really important. So because I did not have paragraphs on these sections, it did not add a paragraph. So this is actually a really good point. Like because I use this template and not my typical one, what I'll do in the meantime is I'll use one of my real templates and have it rerun it just so you can actually see what it looks like on a properly designed template. But I do want to mention, like, you want to make sure you have like paragraphs. It's easier to like delete the paragraph if it didn't use it than to not have the content, because then it's not going to like show all the content for you. Now, it might take you 5-10 minutes to make some quick tweaks. I'm going to go ahead and demo in the background on one of my real templates while I show you how to create your other post from nothing. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm going to rerun this with my actual template. So this template, I'm using this one as the template. So I'm going to keep that running in the background while I show you how to create this with no content. Okay, so let's say you don't have any idea what you want to talk about. Let's do ADHD because I suffer from that. So let's say I want to create a post. I want to create a post about busy professionals with ADHD who need help with quick ways to stay on task and organized. Now, this is important. Like, there's just so many things I wish I could teach in one video, but this is important. If you can give it any kind of idea of how you write, or that's why blogs help because it gets at least an idea of how you write. Um, in this particular case, like what I would do is I would upload, I would like give it my website, or I would write something of how I write, or I would tell it at least like my tone is um, playful but direct. That's my personal tone. Like I'm very playful. I'm try to be a little funny here and there, whatever, but I'm also like very cutthroat. Like I don't sugarcoat things when it comes to my opinion, to what I think works based on my experience. So even though like I try to be nice, warm, nurturing, I tend to be kind of like playful but direct. And so you can say my tone is playful, direct. I want to incorporate this into my voice. So you want to give it some idea. If you haven't already gotten my Voice List by Default ebook, it is a free ebook. You can get it off of my website. And kind of read about like how do you find your practice's voice. I really recommend that so that you don't just sound like everybody else that makes content. And you also don't want it to sound super generic. Like that's another reason why I found other ways to make carousels, but they were not editable. And that was what was driving me crazy, because I didn't want to have to keep having a conversation with the AI to like get it exactly how I wanted. So this is when I finally found out how to put it in Canva, even though I have to do some of that tweaking. To me, it's worth it because I can tweak the language. I can make it sound more like me and less like a computer. I can delete parts that are overly used when you use AI generators. And I like that I can pop in my pictures and give it that little bit extra feeling. And so that is why I wanted to teach people how to do this, because I do feel like it is very time consuming to make this from scratch. I know, because I'm a designer, like I said, and I do it myself. And it's just most of the time it was such a hassle. I didn't even want to do it anymore. And so I've always been like trying to find ways to leverage AI recently to make things faster. And this was one of the things I really wanted to learn so that I could create carousels in minutes. So anyways, I gave it some tone, I gave it some information. Then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, where I essentially told it this information. I'm just going to obviously delete the blog because I'm not using a blog. And I'm going to move this right before my text. So I'm going to say create a 10 slide carousel post based on this topic. I want to create, I'm going to say, busy professionals with ADHD who need quick ways to stay on task and organized. My tone is playful but direct. I want to incorporate this into my voice. Comment audit. I would just say comment discovery. Let's pretend I want to set up like a discovery call or like send them information, or guide. Let's say send guide. Let's say you made a guide for busy professionals and you want to trigger that automation. If you haven't watched my video on how to leverage lead magnets to get emails, I'll link that video so you can watch that. So say comment guide as my CTA. All right, and then I'm going to put in a new template. So I don't want to mess this one up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this one. So right now this one's being worked on. Make a copy. And I'm going to name this one ADHD for the purpose of this video. ADHD. And then I'm going to go back, and Claude just finished this one. And I'm going to say yes, save, because I want to open this one. So this was the other one I was doing about the 8 mistakes. Now we're doing the ADHD one. So I'm going to go ahead, hit see all. I'm going to go ahead and make a template link, create the link, hit copy, and I'm going to go ahead and feed that and replace this one with the new template. So that's for the ADHD one. I hope I don't mess it up. Okay. So while this is creating, we're going to go back and look on the 8 mistakes. I'm going to let this one run in the background just so we can see what it ends up making. So you can see, obviously, there's some little issues. I'm going to delete my little emoji there. I'm going to delete this little emoji. And I'm going to shrink this real quick so I can read the information. So your website is your digital handshake. Is it working? Let's say I want to change the color on this. So if you want to use your little like shuffle tool here on your brand guide, if you don't want to manually do it, you could just hit shuffle and kind of see like what colors you like. I kind of liked the lilac-y one, this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and change this to white. And let's say I want to use a different picture. I'm going to show you actually how I edit quickly. So I don't know. I already used this one, but I'm just going to use one like, oh my gosh, your website looks terrible. I'm kidding. All right. Anyways, I reviewed dozens of clinician websites and I found the same 8 issues over and over. I do teach you how to make an AI twin. This is the real me. This is actually what I really look like. And this is my AI twin, this picture right here, which I created based on a photo shoot. So I do teach that. That is one of my popular courses. And you can also access that from my website. But essentially, like you can make some cute little pictures like these right here, some quick ones I like reinserted. But all these are like my AI twin that are in here. And I used them all based on a photo shoot. So there's the design. I'm going to go ahead. Oops, I didn't mean to delete that. I'm going to delete like these little things that I don't need. And I'm going to just read the content real quick and just see like a pretty website that doesn't convert is just an expensive digital brochure when someone visits your website. So it did update the content. I'm not going to read it all for now, but I just want to show you like how quickly you can make edits. I would probably swap that out with a different icon. So I'm not going to go through the whole like design process because it will take like 10 minutes or so for me to do it because I'm a little picky when I design. But the nice thing is like, even if you don't want to, like, you don't even have to use the images if you don't want. I just wanted images because I thought like the icons and the pictures are kind of fun and cute, and that's what I wanted. But here's theme one: design is overwhelming your message. And then again, some content here gets a little heavy. So again, you can just pull this down. If this is a little too big, you can always pull this corner and resize it. And I might even delete some of this, like if I feel like it's a little overkill. I might say show people in scenarios that mirrors your audience's real needs, a family after a wellness visit, a telehealth call. I'm just going to delete this, period. And then it says, oops, that was not a period. And then it says stock photos that don't reflect your audience, miss the mark, generic office photo scenes don't build emotional trust. Your imagery isn't connecting with your patients. So like, that's good. Like I don't need whatever was there before. And then it says the fix, use relatable, emotionally resonant photos. So like, that's perfect. And again, I might leave some room to go back and add some images. And so essentially like you can go in, like I added this little rectangle previously. So I could like put it behind words if I wanted to, let's say, let's put it behind not them. And then I'll probably make it white just so it kind of like highlights it. When I do use boxes, I do add like an extra space just so it's not like hitting it right next to it. So again, you can go in here, make your quick little like color edits, and just edit everything. So you can just go through it one by one and edit all the slides. Again, it probably shouldn't take you more than 10, 15 minutes to edit all 10 of them. So before I told you it takes like 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes to design one slide because everything was from scratch. Like we had to put in the title, we had to put in the text, and we had to like do like look for the images. And so now it's a little bit quicker because I have a clear idea like, okay, these are the images I want to use. And so like I'll just look for quick little stock images. And what I do is I normally pick something based on the information. So on here I kind of use the shocked image, and I like using sometimes like the little emojis. And so you can go in and make the edits one by one. Now I want to check on our ADHD post. Would you like to save? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to see what it did. Go ahead and close this one. And once it's ready, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And again, I use the same template as previously. So like the same template that I used for the 8 mistakes, I repurposed it for ADHD. So we're going to go ahead and see how that looks. Here's the link. Okay, so your ADHD brain isn't broken. It just needs a different, it just needs a different system. Now, again, you can tweak this and like change the information if you don't like it. You can delete this little sentence here, like your ADHD brain isn't broken. The traditional productivity advice was built for neurotypical brains and it's been failing you. Here are 7 quick wins and to actually stay on task and get things done. So I'm going to delete that little M dash, one of the dead giveaways of AI. So on here, I'm going to leave that little picture for now, just for the purpose of, again, deleting this little search bar because I don't need it. Your ADHD brain types. Why can't I just start the thing I need to do? I don't know if I like the word types. It makes me think like typing on a computer. I don't know if that's what it meant. It's not laziness. It's lack of motivation. It's a dopamine and executive function. So obviously you're going to go in, you're the expert. I obviously don't specialize in helping people with ADHD, but I do think it gives you like a pretty good starting point considering we gave it no information. And all we did was like, I just want to give people tips based on ADHD and focusing on getting on task and staying organized. Like considering the fact that we gave it nothing and it created all these slides for you is pretty cool. So I like the last one. It says, are you ready to go deeper? It says your brain isn't the problem, the system you've been handed is. And then comment guide. You can put a little picture of yourself, comment guide below, and I'll send you my full ADHD productivity guide built specifically for busy professionals who are done white knuckling their way through the workday. I don't really like the word white knuckling, but again, you could go in and make your edits. And what's nice is like it literally created it and it's just a matter of like literally pulling things over, unstacking things, like a really bad one here. This one's like pretty stacked up. So you can literally just grab some of these things and just move them down. Another little tip is like you can click the corner and hold your mouse down and drag and pick up multiple elements. So you're not having to like select one by one. And so those are just like little tips you can use to set that up. And then another little tip I'll give you is if you want to center anything, you go to position and you go to center and it will like try and center all of the items for you. Now this box is behind. So what I typically do is I'll do that little tip where I hold my mouse down and like select what I want. And then I hit shift and I click off of the actual box and then I can delete that. People use the layers. I think the layers end up frustrating me more, but that's just some ways that you can go ahead and make those edits. Another thing is like if you see how the swipe got overlapped, you can group these items. So in the future, it'll just like read it as one item and then it'll center that. So these are some ways that literally in minutes you can create these designs, and like it's just a matter of you going in and tweaking. Like the fact that you didn't have to copy and paste information, you're literally just moving the elements around so you can see them better is game changer. And the fact that I literally just told it a topic I wanted to talk about and it wrote a bunch of content, obviously you're gonna have to go in and tweak it, but that's, I think, is pretty game changer. Like if you could spend like, let's say an hour or two and you can do these in about 10-15 minutes, let's say in an hour you could get 4 carousel posts done and you can batch those. Like if you could literally in 1, maybe 2 hours batch between 5 to 8 posts for the week, I think that's pretty game changer. So I would honestly just sit there and tweak stuff and give it information. And if you can repurpose anything, like I said in the beginning, like totally repurpose it. But I'm going to drop a link below so that you guys can I'll drop a couple of links of the things I mentioned, but I'll drop the link below for you to access the instructions so that you can input it in your own project. And I hope this helps.